Hello magpies. I am recording and editing this video in the comfort of my own home, surrounded by the objects of my life. But I write it, at least in part, surrounded by nature and magpie songs. The rain has just passed, leaving behind it a scent of newness, while the sky remains softly grey in anticipation of the next shower. The park bench beneath me is painted in rainbow stripes, reflecting the rainbow beads I have threaded through my shoelaces as a sign of outward pride and inward satisfaction in finally knowing who I am. It has been 3 years to the day since Halloween 2022 when I first launched this channel. At the time, I was suffering crippling fatigue as a result of the long COVID I had caught a year earlier. But the idea of expressing myself in this way motivated me to stay up all night learning how to record and edit videos. Indeed, if not for the constant fatigue, I wonder if I still would have thought it was a clever idea to present myself to the world as a gender-fluid undead of vaguely arcane origin. As I pause to compose the next section of this script, a magpie lands on the park bench beside me, feathers slightly bedraggled from the rain, and stares at me with its orange eyes, whilst another hops and warbles from mere feet away. I am now surrounded by the symbolic icons of my choosing, and my mind turns to the strange rivers of time that have delivered me here. Some 25 years ago, I made the choice to burn down all bridges between me and members of several cults within whose influence I had fallen. It's hard to describe the effects of living within a cult to those who have not experienced entrapment within one. At first, the cults, they seek to isolate you from your support networks, thus making you reliant upon them for everything. Then they move to turn you against your own best interests, to make you loathe the things that bring you joy, and to destroy the things that you are good at until you cannot imagine a future outside of the cult. Then, at last, they are free to erode your entire sense of reality until you learn not to believe your lying eyes and ears any longer. My strongest memory of this time of breaking free was a brief moment that should have meant very little. I felt a mild headache coming on, and whilst good sense told me to have a drink of water and maybe have a little lie down, that other sense that had been cultivated within me sought to link every waking moment to the cult's delusions, just as it had been trained to do. Within my headache, thus, it imagined a psychic attack by demons that sought entry into my mind and warned me to prepare my esoteric defenses. So, at this pivotal moment, I found myself forced to choose between these two different voices within me, to choose a future of sad normalcy where I was once again nobody in a sea of nothing, or else to choose to maintain the cult psychosis that had been thrust upon me. Ultimately, I chose not to choose, but rather to walk away from the beliefs that had been impressed upon me, but also to walk away from my own life and from any hope for a future. I chose to suffer the headache and to do nothing to abate it. Today, I feel like I am only now recovering from the price of that choice. When I was a young child, I used to hold my mother's attention hostage every night at bedtime. As she stood in the doorway of my bedroom, having put me down for the night, I would not yet submit to sleep until she had answered the same question I asked every night. What are we going to do tomorrow? The magpies have flown away now, but I hear their song still. The lyrics to two different Johnny Cash songs intersect and blur in my mind. From the song Southern Accent, I recall the words play out. For just a minute here, I was dreaming. For just a minute here, it was all so real. For just a minute, she was standing there with me. Whilst at the same time, the song Bird on a Wire echoes through my mind, speaking thusly. And a young woman leaning on her darkened door, she cried out to me, why not ask for more? I am 12 or 13 years old, and the events that precipitate my fall to cults are just beginning to emerge. I always saw my father as somewhat intimidating for his learned, wise demeanor. So one day I thought it would be just the thing to challenge him with a question that I had judged to be unanswerable, even to him. I said, Dad, how do I know that anything is actually real? Like, how do I know that reality isn't just an illusion and all of you aren't just figments of my imagination? And even assuming that we both exist, how do I know that the words I am speaking to you now are the same words you were hearing, when neither of us can ever experience the other's mind? His response was nothing that I could have predicted. He seemed so proud of me for asking, and we spoke for what seemed like hours afterwards. He told me stories of his life, of how he had lived in a temple in India, studying Hinduism beneath his guru Baba Muktananda, and of how the story of his teacher's death intersected with the story of my birth. And likewise, he answered my question to remarkable satisfaction. He told me that ultimately none of us can ever truly know what is and what isn't real, but that's okay, because what really matters is what we do with that uncertainty. Some people will double down on their perceived truth, assuming that if they can cause their beliefs to overpower all others, then it is proven truth. Others will give up on the idea of truth entirely and settle to seek just what makes them happy in each given moment. But the hardest path to walk of all is the one that goes in between, to do the best you can with what you have. 30 years later, I think I am finally awakening to see that the path I chose does not have to be the path before me. I pack up my belongings now, to leave the Rainbow Bench and Magpie Friends, as several council workers have appeared on their ride-on mowers, taking advantage of the lapse in the rainfall to mow the park lawns, as their engines scare the birds and me away. The moment of self-reflection has ended, but industry and life rolls on. So, in this spirit of new beginnings, I want to share with you magpies a hope I have for a better future. The consequence of the final assessment I submitted to university this year, where my course required me to draw up a business plan. So I set out to imagine a way that I could potentially make a living doing what I loved. And halfway through, I looked at it and I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to do it. I called this dream Barrowguild, and you must excuse the MS Paint logo, as I am still very much in the raw and early stages here. But at least we may behold the long night, and beneath it the promise of treasure within the Barrow tomb, and perched atop it all, the treasure-seeking magpie who sings to greet the dawn and is fearless in defending his nest. Barrowguild is a design and play tabletop role-playing game company built upon my pre-existing body of work. Within 4 different multimedia streams crystallized to be unveiled in the coming years, as I now seek to align my study to focus upon their realization. First, the social media arm of the company, which includes this channel, where I shall continue to share my love of D&D and lore with you all. Second, will be the running of paid tabletop role-playing game campaigns through the Start Playing platform, which currently occupies all of my time learning how to use the best virtual tabletop software to enhance the experience. And in this early stage, I am always looking for games to run to keep my skills sharp, and I shall soon be offering free games to subscribers within this community. Third, I want to publish some of my own adventures and homebrew materials for pennies on the dollar, but nonetheless, for the love of the hobby, to release my brainchildren out into the world. And finally, following my graduation from my degree some years from now, Barrowguild shall transition into its final form, whereupon I shall follow up my study by gaining qualifications in the disability support care world, and begin to offer Dungeons & Dragons games to people with disabilities, which, at least here in Australia and probably elsewhere as well, they will be able to claim through their National Disability Insurance Scheme, meaning that I will, bony fingers crossed, and if all works out, be government funded to provide all of the socialization and storytelling benefits of a Dungeons & Dragons game to those who need it most. This is Barrowguild, my 5-year plan. It's obviously still so very rough in the details, but things are moving and things are happening as we speak. I include it as a postscript to this reflective anniversary video, not just because it does reflect my life, my whole life leading up to this moment, but also I don't want to get ahead of myself on this, and I don't want to make a big deal about it, at least not at this early stage. Let's save something for the individual launches. But nonetheless, I'm looking forward to sharing it with you, and I'm very much looking forward to running some games for you too, coming soon. I do love you all so very much. You take care of yourselves, you look after one another, and don't beat yourself up about your past, because the future can still yet be full of magpie songs.